what about the opportunity this now presents for everybody else in the league? Gonzaga and St. Mary's have had a stranglehold on the top of this conference for the last quarter century. And without Gonzaga around, the others are looking. There might just be finally a chance that they can make the NCAA tournament. This is maybe the first real opportunity that the rest of them are going to have had in a very long time. You think if you're a fan at Pepperdine, if you're a fan at LMU, if you're a fan of San Diego, of Portland, you go into a season knowing you will not make the NCAA tournament almost. Like there is almost zero shot of you making the NCAA tournament because one, you have to be good enough to potentially be an at-large because that's almost your only in to get to the NCAA tournament. I have to be good enough to have an at-large out of the WCC because my road to try to be an automatic bid is I have to beat not only St. Mary's, but I have to beat Gonzaga. I have to beat them both in consecutive days in Las Vegas in a tournament structure that really doesn't benefit me at all. Again, even if you're the likes of USF and Santa Clara over the last couple of years, you play an extra game. You play one more game than St. Mary's has had to do. You play one more game than Gonzaga has had to. And maybe that one game doesn't make much of a difference when it comes to Gonzaga and St. Mary's and and everybody else. But guess what? It's at least a shot. No one else has even been to a WCC title game except for those two and BYU over the last 15 years. Again, I've talked about this before. You have to go all the way back to 2008 to find a not St. Mary's, Gonzaga, BYU, WCC team in the title game. That's how long you have to go back. That's when I graduated undergrad. It's been a while. And to think about the opportunity this now presents for everybody else, the big bad wolf is gone for everyone else in the WCC. And yes, I know Gonzaga's be like, well, it's like you guys weren't good enough anyway, whatever else. Well, guess what? Most other mid-major leagues don't have this big bad wolf in their league for a quarter of a century. Most of them either leave or there's just turnover that happens. And there's ebbs and flows to most other leagues. The WCC has been unique in a way where you had one and really two teams dominate for the better part of, again, 25 years, 30 years. It's been two teams. And that is going to change in a couple of years. Gonzaga will be gone. These other schools will have a shot, finally, to potentially make the NCAA tournament, to be an automatic bid. I was at Jenny Craig Pavilion in 2008 when San Diego was the automatic bid. And that was such a ridiculous tournament because, yes, they had to beat Gonzaga and St. Mary's on consecutive days. But they did it. Yes, in their home building, which did help quite a bit. But this offers a chance that these schools, because again, like after that point, not only did they go neutral site for the NCAA, for the WCC tournament, but the level and the gap between Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and then everybody else changed. Gonzaga became a perennial national title contender. St. Mary's became an annual at-large contender. Everybody else was still trying to fight to get back to that level. And only a couple of programs have even been able to really sustain being just good enough to not be good enough. USF, Santa Clara, LMU's had their ups and downs. Pacific has had their ups and downs. Portland has had its ups and downs. There have been a number of programs in this league that have had once or twice successes that have almost gotten them over the hump. but no one has been able to sustain that outside of those two programs. And while financially, on a viewership front, yes, is the WCC going to take a hit without Gonzaga? Of course it is. But does this provide an opportunity and a chance for everybody else to finally climb out of the muck and get back to an NCAA tournament, gain some excitement back for these programs that really have, I maybe it's a bad word, but like almost hopeless for the last 20 years, that they will finally be able to get back and have a real shot at seeing March Madness for themselves